Gerry is someone that has turned live stream into a daily ritual, a movement, and a new line in cybersecurity media.
If you're not using AI, it's like not using the internet in the year 1999, 2000. Like, yes, you can do your work, but you are going to be so far behind and left behind. I'm not saying sell your house and go put it on one spin of a roulette table. That's insane. But grow, take some chances, like, measured responses, right?
Who says tech can't be human?
What's going on, Hacker Valley fam? Welcome back to the show. I mentioned that I have a legend that's going to be coming on the show. This person is a legend because of the work that they've already done, but also a legend in the making because they're still constantly putting out hot content. Without further ado, I got to bring up my special guest for this episode, Gerald Auger, also known as Gerald Auger. Gerry is someone that has turned live stream into a daily ritual, a movement, and a new line in cybersecurity media. There was a very few people that have been live streaming the past 3-4 years. And Gerald, you have been the one that has been popping up on everybody's daily agenda. You've been live streaming daily, but there's a lot that we're going to talk about. But most importantly, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ron. Great to be here. Love the work that you guys are doing and really excited to have this conversation today. And the nicest things you're saying about me, I genuinely appreciate it. It's very kind.
You've been putting the work in. And I've been telling my team, I'm like, hey, you got to check out, what you are doing on your stream, the daily cyber threat brief. But you also have a company within it that has a community, that has a education component, that also has this news component. So what is Simply Cyber, and how does that work, and how did you get into that?
Yeah, it's funny because when people ask me, what do you do, and I'm like, I run Simply Cyber. To say it's a YouTube channel is really misidentifying what it is. Because it really is substantial. I would call it a community that has media elements that are designed to help people break into the industry or level up or, crush it. As well as on the academic side. I've been a practitioner for 20 years and I love helping people. I'm a big into service. And, when you worked in the industry a long time, a lot of people will approach you and say, oh, how do I get into the industry? Or what do you think of this platform versus that platform or whatever? And because I love helping people, Ron, I don't want to say I don't have time for you, but I was running into struggles of time. So what I thought was, oh, listen, I'll make a YouTube video and I'll put it up there. And the next person who asks me this common question, I'll say, here's a YouTube video, you watch it. If you have any questions, come back to me. I'll answer them all. But I deliberately made this content to be comprehensive. And I'm big on education and lifelong learner. So I wanted to make sure I was being comprehensive with this. And 99% of people did not come back because their answers were achieved. So I started basically making content around these FAQs to free myself up from time while serving. And it just basically caught fire from there. And now it's huge. There's, thousands of active people in the community. There's tens of thousands in the community. There's hundreds of thousands on the YouTube channel. And people have really gotten the spark of wanting to help and provide service. And I feel like that's what Simply Cyber is. It's an environment that promotes support, inclusion, and empowerment. And people are into it. And I'm super happy for it.
It's a big hit. It's so much of a hit that you actually won an award last year for Best Show or Podcast of the Year, the Sans Difference Makers Award. And you said, I was surprised to hear this. You said that you were shocked that you all had won the award.
I don't know. I feel like I'm a pretty level-minded guy. And, the other shows that were nominated were excellent programs and, deserving of such adulation as the Sans Different Maker Award. So I didn't go into that event like cock of the walk being like, oh, yeah, just go ahead and just etch my name in there right now. That'll be fine. But, it is validating, I guess, not so much to be like the difference maker, but it's validating that external observations of the work that we're doing within the community is recognized as positively impactful and, frankly, making a difference, which is really what it moves me, man. It's like, it's super cool to be able to help people.
It is. I just got off the phone with someone and they were talking about doing their own show. And they said, I think that there's enough to where you can do a show every day. And we were just about to do this live stream. And I thought of you. I said, absolutely, there is.
Yeah.
What is some of the things that you think people need the most right now from someone that is producing content and live streams every single day?
Daily's a lot, man. It is a lot because if you're going to do it, you really do have to think about what does that mean? So I do it every day at 8 a.m. Eastern time. And there is a very deliberate reason for that. I'm on the East Coast. I start my workday around 7:30 a.m., coffee and all that. And I was consuming the top cyber news, threat intelligence at 8 a.m. for me to be effective at my job. So I was already doing this. Now I just turn on a camera and talk to people. But if I'm traveling for Hacker Summer Camp, it's 5 a.m. So I get up at 4:30 to do the show. I mean, I have a studio now, but back in the day, if we had family come in for holidays, they were staying in my studio. So like I've done the show from like the garage, you know what I mean? So you got to think through like, can you deliver on this? And there's no wrong answer. It's just, you got to be practical. So I always caution people like, hey, maybe you start with once a week and see how that flies. And then, elevate it to more frequently than once a week.
There's so much that you have to be comfortable with doing it live. I mean, this is completely live right now. I think that you have to have confidence that you can overcome issues on the fly. There might be an issue with your stream. There could be an issue that someone's having in the audience that says, hey, I can't hear anything that you're saying. And maybe that's also a quiet moment during the stream. So now, as a host, you have to kind of navigate, do I try to troubleshoot or is this, on the user side? What's been, some of the craziest things that you've had to navigate going live every single day?
It's almost an inside joke. If you haven't seen my show before, for me to have like audio issues or engineering issues, I've had all sorts of things. I've launched the wrong show. So like my shows are every day, right? So today was September 4th. We did the show at 8 a.m. In the past, I've accidentally like launched September 5th because you schedule them in advance so people can get ready and bookmark them. So I've launched the wrong day. Last week, I had my mixing board, which is what your audio and your soundboard and all these things that control the audio into your stream, I had it completely fail. So I actually had to do a physical swap of my soundboard. Fortunately, I'm a GRC dork, so I have like extra soundboard. I have business continuity through the roof. So I swapped in a new soundboard. And the nice thing is, Ron, and for anyone out there, it does take time to get comfortable, but I am so comfortable and I'm so real with the community that they completely understand. And there's like 400 or 500 people in chat. They're just chatting with each other, understanding that like, hey, Gerry's just working through some issues. It's like tech demos during a public speaking event. Like it happens, right? People know it. And as long as you don't like lose your mind and just end the stream out of embarrassment, they're going to be there when you get back. And in fact, they're some of the best people to come up with inside jokes and stuff. Back in the day, Saturday Night Live, Mike Myers had a character named Linda Richmond, who was like this New York style housewife talk show thing. And she would always say, oh, talk amongst yourselves. I'm verklempt. Like she was choked up. Like, I'm verklempt. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Dr. Pepper, not a doctor or a pepper, discuss. And then like, Linda Richmond would have a moment. And so anytime we're having issues where it's not audio where they can hear me, we'll do that. And if I do have audio issues, chat will just start streaming about like, I'll give you a topic, grape nuts, not grape or nuts, discuss. And like, it's just, it's an inside joke. And to me, those experiences, while still wanting to make yourself accessible for inclusion and new people to come in, those experiences develop the stories and the vibes that makes a community a tribe and has those those experiences, right? And those things, right? Like people will talk about the spider episode that I had. People will talk about the garage episode I had that I mentioned before. Like there's just, it's cool. It's really cool. So roll with the punches and don't overthink it.
You know, a lot of our customers want to start their own show. And, you know, like there's a big component of Hacker Valley that is sponsorship, a lot like you. And then there's a big component where we're helping other brands develop their content. And, you know, they're always trying to find what is the webinar more so than a live stream, but they're kind of one and the same depending on how you present. Mm-hmm. What would your advice be to someone that wants to build a brand to stand out and catch attention?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I do teach a course on how to do this using content creation as the platform for building a personal brand. But what I would say is, you know, yes, the technical delivery of content, and maybe you don't feel comfortable on camera. There's other ways to produce content. No matter what you're going to do, if you're going to develop a personal brand, which is a great idea, by the way, because it helps with networking opportunities and stuff, is deliver value into a network, right? So, you know, you can find your tribe. They can be part of different tribes, but find your like some way to deliver value. And it doesn't have to be some like unbelievable thing. The one example I always go to, there was a guy named Pete McKinnon who was in our community. And he said, hey, I want to get into cybersecurity. I've been told that I need to learn Python. I want to learn Python. Hey, is it okay if I post a daily Python challenge on the Discord server and invite people who are trying to learn Python to complete it and do these things? And I said, sure. And he did it for like 3 or 4 months. He learned Python and he was delivering value to a bunch of people. Like by helping them learn Python. Then he got to meet them and hang out with them. And then, you know, inevitably you start having personal conversations like, oh, what do you do? Like, oh, I can't do the Python challenge today. My kid's got a doctor's appointment. Oh, that's okay. I hope everything's well. By doing those, you start building genuine relationships while also, you know, getting something, you know, developing a skill for yourself or whatever. So, you know, these Try Hack Me Room videos, that's great. You're leveling up, you're helping people. I feel like it's important to not just take from a network. I feel like it's very important to give to a network. And the final thing I'll say, I'm a big guy on analogies, Ron. I say this all the time. You should think of it as like throwing seeds out into a field, like nice plowed field. Everything's good. You're throwing seeds. That's you giving value into a network. And then you're watering it. You're continuing to give value, engage with people. You're watering it. Not all of those seeds are going to seedling. Not all of the seedlings are going to grow full. Not all the ones that grow full are going to bear fruit. And you don't know which one it is. So you can't hyper focus on just the one that's going to work and serve you the best. You have to just kind of do it. And then you'll find organic opportunities happen all the time.
That's a fact. That's exactly how I would say like just the law of possibility works. There's a book that I am a huge fan of that this actually reminds me of is The Alchemist, where, you know, there's the more that you open yourself up to the unknown, you know, the more opportunity that's going to present itself. There's going to be someone that says, hey, oh, you're interested in this thing. Now, let me make this introduction to this other person, especially if you're, you know, building or learning in the public. You know, if you teach it, then you ultimately get to learn it twice. So I really love that philosophy of, you know, learning through osmosis, putting that work on display and ultimately getting people involved in it.
Yeah, heck yeah. And you just never know when it's going to come. Like earlier today, like literally as I was driving back from campus this morning, a friend of mine texted me, there's a big conference coming up on September 17th. And he said, hey, a guy who's doing a workshop just had a family emergency that he had to pull out of the workshop. Do you know anyone with a last minute availability to put a workshop on at this conference? And I was like, yes, I do. And I made a phone call. And like 2 minutes later, I called the guy back and we're like, all right, I'll connect you. You're all set. Like the fact that, and now that guy is going to go to that conference, meet a bunch of people at that conference, deliver value through a workshop, probably meet people who were attending the workshop and just continue to blossom. But like that phone call, that text message I got in the phone call I made after doesn't happen unless those two individuals and I had collaborated or networked in the past.
Speaking of, speaking at conferences and finding a speaker, you have built a conference. You know, there's so much demand and interest about learning and education, and that's a big part of what you do through your platform. But now you have a conference, and it's more of where you're giving back to the community rather than like them having to pay an absorbent fee at, like you would at some of these big conferences that just happened, like summer camp. But yeah, talk to us about that. What was the reason behind building the conference and what has happened so far?
So the conference is SimplyCyberCon. You can go to simplycybercon.org if you'd like to learn more about it. And we started doing this a few years ago. The first year we did virtual. I'm a big fan of 1% better a day. So we did it virtual the first year. Last year was our first in-person year, and we basically partnered with B-Sides Charleston. And this year we're doing our own thing. The whole gig behind that is, I and a lot of people in our community have really good friends that they know online. It's wild how I never thought I'd have friends that I've never met before in person, but I do. And we have a rich community. We have people trying to level up. We have people trying to be part of something big, and just organically it became a demand, frankly, from the community to have a conference, to have this kind of not call to arms, but this siren's call to come together and do something together to celebrate our community. And you don't have to be exclusively with Simply Cyber in order to enjoy the conference, but in the essence of what Black Hills has done with Wild West Hack and Fest, which is kind of my North Star for where I would like to take this event. The Deadwood one. So maybe 1,000 people, intimate, more of a retreat where there's activities, breakfast, lunch, dinner, afterwards activities, boat ride the day before. It's a community experience to build those relationships and further galvanize the existing ones. Our core values are support. So we support each other. Anyone can come in, no dumb questions, right? You got a question, we're going to support you. Inclusion. Everyone's welcome to be there at the conference, on the streams, in the community. Everyone's included. If you are not included in the community, you have self-selected to eliminate yourself by being not aligned with the other core values. And then the other one is empowering people. And that's what the conference does, as well as the other things we do. I can show you, Ron, where the water is. You're dying of thirst. Dude, I'll show you. I'll take you. Get on my back. I'll carry you to the water. But I can't stick your head in the tank. I can't make you drink it. You have to do that. But I'll give you everything I can to get you right up there. I'll show you how a cup works. I'll show you how to get the faucet working, all the things. So that's our core value. And that the conference is just a manifestation of those values.
Looking at all the things that people ask you about, I'm sure people see you on the stream. They ask you 1,000,001 questions. You put together the stream, you put together the conference. What are the top one to a few things that you think people in cyber really need to double down on because it keeps on popping up over and over again?
Okay, I'll give you kind of two answers, because when you say people in cyber, I mean, there's that's got an asterisk on it already. Are you talking about people who are new to cyber, people who are, deep in the trenches of cyber, people who are working in cyber versus kind of cyber adjacent? So, I would say, definitely. And again, this is so played out, but AI, and I know, please, you're looking for your remote right now to turn the channel because AI, but literally, I mean, I watched a really great webinar yesterday from Eric Capuano and Whitney Champion on how to use AI to do SOC analyst work, expediently fast, and some of the concerns, AI, you shouldn't be AI take the wheel. It's much more AI, you work for me now, and I'm gonna human in the loop kind of thing. So I don't think you should sleep on AI. In fact, I said this a couple years ago, and I still stay true to it, because my students at Citadel are 18, 19 years old, and they're not really using AI. And I say, listen, practitioner in cyber, and I don't care if you've been practicing for 25 years or you're just got your first job today. If you're not using AI, it's like not using the internet in the year 1999, 2000. Yes, you can do your work. You're going to get it done. You can do intra-office memos, but you are going to be so far behind and left behind. You're going to get crushed if you don't adopt these technologies for your workflows and for your productivity. So AI is definitely one. And then the other one, I'll tell you, and again, this is going to align to what we said earlier. I really, really think that building a personal brand is critical in 2025. And it's not so much for doing your job today, but it's much more, dude, right now with inflation and some of the economy stuff and uncertainties, there's a lot of like reduction in force, right? There's people getting laid off. There's businesses closing, people losing their jobs, even ransomware attacks and stuff. Because of that, the ability to be agile and not have to worry too much about your next opportunity is important. But the one thing that you must understand, if you take one thing from this conversation, attendee, the one thing you need to understand is if you are thinking about how to like build a brand or get out there and meet people so you can be agile, the day you're getting laid off, you are way behind the eight ball. You are so far behind. You have to invest in yourself like now. And then when you need it, you can go to the bank and cash in those credits that you've saved up. I tell people, be the CEO of you. You can love your job. You can love the people you work with. You can love all that. But they can lay you off in a hot minute, and it's not personal. It's just they can't pay your salary because, Q4 was tough or whatever. No one's going to invest or care more about you than you, right? So you've got to take advantage of it in some way. Just 1% better every day. That's what I would say to this audience, Ron. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Yeah.
Wow. So I'm glad that you said it. I think that a lot of people are afraid to say it right now, but the first one is AI. Like, I think that's sound. It's probably one of the wisest things that you could do if you're not using it right now is to invest in AI, whether it be with organizing your thoughts or organizing your meetings. Some people are using it for calendar. I haven't figured out how to like get it to where it gives me good input for that yet. But when it comes to like SOC workflows, I've asked it so many different SOC questions. It's really, really good. And people might say like, oh, well, which model? I don't know which model. And no. They're all really good as a second opinion at a minimum, maybe even the path forward.
The way I've been kind of like reconciling in my brain is that like AI is an intern or a junior analyst that I've hired that has different skills. They're good at marketing. They're good at IT. They're good at these things. And I just say, hey, intern, like I need you to come up with like a LinkedIn post about this webinar I'm doing with Ron today. And I want it to be catchy and I want it to be fun. And I want to make sure that you talk about how much I like Hacker Valley Media because this is all true. Then the intern puts together something and then I take it and I say, yeah, you know what? I like the idea of this. I like what you're doing. I don't like that. And this isn't even true. But other than that, we're good to go. Quick edits. And then boom, I've got something that I would have written. And the difference is I have more time. And dude, you want to find someone that believes that time is the most valuable asset. You won't find somebody screaming it louder than me, which is why I made the YouTube videos 5 years ago was because I needed time. When I quit my job, full-time job, and went all in on my own business, my boss at the time was like, dude, it was a CEO. I was reporting directly to him. He goes, I don't want you to quit. Like, what will it take? I will give you anything. Don't quit. And I said, the thing I want is time, and you can't give that to me. Like, there's no amount of money. I mean, obviously, there's some ridiculous number, but he's not going to give it to me. Like, there's nothing you can give me. You have nothing to offer me besides my time, and that's what I need. And that's when I quit. So, AI gives you time back, which is sick.
It's amazing. I think that if you double down on that, there's going to be a lot of positive benefit, especially in your 9 to 5. And then the second piece that you said is the community. And I think that's sound advice too. There's a quote that a lot of people used to say when I was getting my start, and I'm sure you heard it too. It's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And that there's some truth to that. And then on the other hand, it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. If you can get a lot of people to know you and who you are, that's job security at its finest. People are going to come to you when they have opportunities and say, well, hey, I know that Gerry does cybersecurity. I need a cybersecurity pen test. Next thing you know, Gerry has a cybersecurity pen testing company, or a new client. And I bring that up in that way because 2 days ago I was on LinkedIn and I saw that you have a new venture, and I was like, no way! You got a new venture. You got a thriving media company, and now it sounds like you're also taking all the learning lessons, education with a partner, and satisfying another part of cybersecurity needs.
Yeah. So thanks for bringing that up, Ron. Yeah. So again, I don't shy away from challenge. You know what I mean? Like, and one thing I'll tell people before I get into this is like, if you don't do anything that makes you uncomfortable, that you're probably not growing, right? Like, because all you're doing is what's comfortable and familiar. You got to get a little uncomfortable. I'm not saying sell your house and go put it on one spin of a roulette table. That's insane. But grow, take some chances, like, measured responses, right? I'm a risk professional. I don't take any chances that are too risky for me. But yeah, so just recently, I'm not a pen tester. I don't even play one on TV. If you watch me try to hack some stuff, you'll giggle because it's so silly. But what I am is a 20-year GRC professional, CISO, engaging with the C-suite and all these things. So I have that perspective and access to a lot of people, and I know things. So Tyler Ramsby, who is an incredibly talented offensive security professional, very senior guy, can pretty much do whatever it is you need as far as pen testing. He and I started talking about, hey, instead of us both being great pen testers, because that doesn't really help you, you really need, as someone with a business, right? You really need to have a complementary set of skills. This is why boards are often composed of people with different backgrounds. So you get that different perspectives. Well, Tyler and I, while we have a lot of the alignment on vision and community and service, like our talents are completely perpendicular, orthogonal, if you want to get nerdy about it, to each other. So we complement each other perfectly. So in the way of delivering this service, like I can jump on a call with a business or, C-suites already know me from my career and say, hey, listen, I don't know if you're thinking about pen testing, but, this is why it's worth doing. And if you're going to spend X amount on a vulnerability scanner, sure, you can do that. But you could also save a bunch of money, do the scan this other way, and then actually get a pen test, which is going to show you different things than a vulnerability scanner would. And, oh, by the way, it's going to make your insurance go down. Like, I know those type of things. And Tyler can get on and crack on the keyboard. And he's going to know those other things to some degree as well, just like I know some of the pending stuff to some degree. But that complementary service is great. So my title is like Director of Strategy, but it's basically staying in lockstep with Tyler and laying the groundwork for how this business is going to launch, because we're launched now, but you want to start getting clients, right? It's a professional services gig. And then scaling up, in 2026. So yeah, I'm super excited. I love challenge. I am so blessed and so grateful to have a wife that is so supportive and absolutely, supports and endorses these decisions I make in order to, provide for our family and feel truly, enriched and educationally satisfied with the challenges I do professionally.
Yes. And, at a minimum, I think what makes life a little bit easier for any entrepreneur is a wife who at least listens. I've been fortunate enough to have a wife that works at my business. Sounds like, you're in that similar boat where there's a lot of work on the business.
Yeah. Like a lot of work on the business. Yeah. Yeah. She definitely, she's right there, which is even better, right? Because now you're totally intertwined with what's going on in all the activities. So I'm happy for you, Ron, that you've got that situation as well.
Yeah, it's been lovely. And, one of the things that I've realized as being a business owner is not all businesses run the way that you think they would run until you start it. And then you realize that there's so many different businesses types. Are you a venture-backed business? Are you a bootstrap business? How many business partners are you bringing in? So I would imagine, those things that you're doing are absolutely essential. There's got to be at least one person that's doing the work, and then the other person that is, working on the business. Because if you're trying to do both, then your job ultimately owns you. If you're trying to do all the things for your business. So good looking out doing that, and big shout outs and congratulations to you for finding a good partner to help do the business with.
Yeah, thank you. And
it's amazing to be someone's backbone, and also to know that you are through ways that you weren't necessarily even trying to be. It's like, when a friend tells you that, staying on the phone with them that one time really made their day, they were in a bad spot, just hearing things like that. Great. But then hearing that you got someone a job and that their family gets to, transform and up level, and, they've always dreamed of it. And I'm sure it's a lot for people that are tuning in live, and maybe even for you and I, is making six figures is a major milestone of every American. I think Americans that grew up in the 90s and the 80s, everyone dreamed of making six figures and one day $1 million.
Yeah, heck yeah. I did. When I was in college, I put myself through college and I worked for food. I had a job at a sorority where like I got to eat lunch and dinner if I cleaned up after the sorority girls, which is not a glorious job, but I did it for 4.5 years, and it was my meal plan. But you know what I mean? So to put it in perspective,
is this a janitor job or
what's that? My technical term, and chat will love this. My technical term was houseboy. So that's the term they dub you. You can basically show up and put lunch out, or show up and bring lunch in. But if you bring lunch in, you get to eat, and then you bring the lunch in. And it's basically what you'd think. It's like basically you wrap up the food in saran wrap, stick it in the fridge, wipe down the table, and go on to class.
Yeah, front, side, and back. When it comes to probably food, you probably learned a lot about food, and then also about all the people that you're helping and serving.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, it's just I needed to do it.
Looking at a path to greater opportunities, there's people out there that are wondering, what kind of content does the cybersecurity community need? You did mention that, hey, it is a vast community, and you're right. There's people that have GRC backgrounds, there's people with incident response backgrounds. But, I think that, a place where you and I exist is kind of like having a niche, but ultimately speaking to as many people as possible. What gaps, opportunities are you seeing in the world of cybersecurity content?
Well, that's a very good question. Pen testing has got like such a saturation, if you will. I think that, a lot of my content is kind of career focused and skilling up and, what's out there and stuff like that. I don't know necessarily how much of that content's out there that could be useful. Like I could see, again, it's kind of cyber adjacent, but I could see someone who's a CISO having a great YouTube channel that really just talks about hiring and interviews and resume reviews and LinkedIn profile. You know what I mean? Like there's this magic or major disconnect between what's wrong with my resume, or why aren't I getting callbacks, or why did I fail that interview? And you like very seldomly do you ever get feedback from the interview panel for like liability reasons or whatever. So I think that that's a huge area of opportunity that someone who works in cyber could do. Again, that's not necessarily like day one channel content necessarily, but certainly out there. Even I don't know, this is a little meta, Ron, but I could even see a channel performing well. Again, I always go to YouTube because I make video content, but I could see a channel doing well or a community doing well where you like basically are reviewing or giving analysis of different cyber content creators. Not subjective, not malicious, just objective. So yeah, fun question, Ron. That's a really fun one.
Coming from a college professor.
Yes, I'm faculty at the Citadel Military College in their undergrad program. And honestly, Ron, like I have a bachelor's, 2 masters, and a Ph.D. You're not going to find someone else who's more geeked up for higher education. But like being practical, I wouldn't tell someone, to me, it's like too starchy and too tone deaf to be like, oh, you need to go get a 4-year degree because I got one. Like bump that. Like I'm looking at it from like a GRC risk perspective. Like, what's the value? What's the return on investment? What's the best path and option for you in the current market, the current meta? And let's do that. And sometimes it is a degree. Sometimes it's not. Like, I think a computer science degree gives you the foundation to be able to really go far in cybersecurity. If you want to go far and wide on a technical level, you can still do it without it, but that's just one example where I see value in it. But not everybody has that opportunity. A lot of people need to get paid today. People need money today. They got bills today.
Yes, that's right. And that's exactly where especially YouTube University could help you at least prepare in a crunch for that interview if you have a gap or a deficiency. Gerry, I wanted to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for taking time out of your busy day to jump on the mics with us. And be sure, if you haven't done so already, be sure to follow Gerry and look at the show notes or description wherever you're listening or watching. And we will see everyone next time.